So, you're in the market for a new car. You've done your research. You've watched the reviews, and hey, maybe you've even built a spreadsheet. But what about the cars you haven't considered? You know, the ones that just sit on dealership lots, gathering dust. Think your car is bad? Well, just wait until you see these. We're about to dive into a list of vehicles that, for one reason or another, just aren't connecting with buyers. These aren't just cars with a couple of bad reviews. These are the models that consistently underperform in sales year after year. And we're not just pulling these names out of a hat. Our source for this deep dive is the legendary Consumer Reports. They've been testing, analyzing, and ranking products for decades, and their data on vehicle reliability, owner satisfaction, and sales figures is honestly second to none. Here are the 17 worst cars that no one is buying, according to Consumer Reports. Let's get into it. Kicking off our list at number 17, we have the Fiat 500L. So, what went wrong here? On paper, the idea of a larger, more practical version of the charming Fiat 500 seems like a solid concept. You take a popular, stylish city car and stretch it to accommodate more people, more stuff. The execution, however, is where things start to fall apart. The 500L has been consistently plagued by a host of reliability issues, earning it some of the lowest scores in Consumer Reports' annual surveys. Owners have reported everything from transmission problems, finicky electronics, which is never a good sign for long-term ownership. These reliability concerns create a domino effect. When a car develops a reputation for being unreliable, its resale value takes a significant hit. No one wants to buy a used car that's known for being a money pit, and that's exactly the reputation the 500L has earned. This poor resale value makes the initial investment even less appealing for new car buyers. They know that when it comes time to sell or trade it in, they're going to lose a substantial amount of money, more so than with its competitors. It's a financial one-two punch that's hard to ignore. Ultimately, the market has spoken. Buyers are looking for reliability value and a pleasant driving experience, and the 500L struggles to deliver on all fronts. Coming in at number 16 is a car built around being affordable, the Mitsubishi Mirage. A low sticker price is always tempting, but buyers have discovered that you often get what you pay for. The primary complaint revolves around performance. The Mirage is equipped with a small 3-cylinder engine. To put it mildly, it struggles. Merging onto a highway requires careful planning, and a heavy foot on the accelerator. The engine noise that accompanies this effort is far from pleasant. Beyond the lackluster performance, the interior experience leaves a lot to be desired. The cabin is a sea of hard, cheap-feeling plastics. At number 15, we find a nameplate that carries a lot of weight, the Jeep Compass. With the iconic Jeep branding, you'd expect a certain level of rugged capability and quality. However, the Compass has consistently underwhelmed critics and consumers alike, landing it on our list. A major point of contention is its engine. Underwhelming engine. The powertrain is often described as sluggish and unrefined, providing acceleration that feels lethargic from a standstill, and during passing maneuvers. This lack of power is particularly noticeable when the vehicle is loaded with passengers or cargo, undermining the utility it's supposed to offer. Step inside, and the disappointment continues for many. While newer versions have seen improvements, the generation of the Compass that solidified its spot on this list was known for a dated and uninspired interior. The cabin was filled with low-rent materials. Securing the 14th spot is a vehicle that, honestly, feels like a relic from another era, the Dodge Journey. For years, the Journey was a mainstay in rental fleets, but it struggled mightily to attract actual retail buyers. The most glaring issue is its outdated design. The platform it's built on is, well, ancient in automotive terms, and it really shows. The exterior styling, the interior layout, the underlying technology. In a rapidly evolving market, the Journey just stood still, looking and feeling older with each passing model year. This outdated platform also contributes to another major red flag: poor safety scores. As crash test standards became more stringent, the Journey's old bones just couldn't keep up. It consistently received marginal or poor ratings in key crash tests from organizations like the ISUHS. For families who are the primary target for three-row SUVs, safety is a top priority. The Journey's inability to provide modern levels of protection was a deal-breaker for a huge portion of its potential customer base. Ultimately, the Dodge Journey became a case of too little, too late. Next up at number 13 is the Nissan Versa. For a long time, the Versa held the title of the cheapest new car in America, and that was its main, and sometimes only, selling point. Despite that low price, many buyers found the compromises too significant. The most common complaint centers on the cheap-feeling interior. The cabin of the older Versa models, particularly the sedan, was honestly a symphony of hard, easily scratched plastics. Then there's the driving experience. The Versa has long been criticized for its sluggish acceleration. The combination of a small engine and a continuously variable transmission, or CVT, that prioritized fuel economy above all else, resulted in a car that felt slow and unresponsive. Pulling out into traffic or attempting to pass on the highway could be, well, a nerve-wracking experience. It's important to note that the newest generation of the Nissan Versa is a massive improvement in every way. However, the reputation built by its predecessor still lingers. Sliding into the 12th spot is a car that had a short and troubled life, the Chrysler 200. This midsize sedan was launched with a memorable Super Bowl commercial, high hopes of taking on the likes of the Honda Accord, Toyota Camry. Unfortunately, it fell well short of that goal. One of the most significant design flaws was its cramped rear seats. Despite being a mid-size sedan, the sloping, coupe-like roofline severely compromised rear headroom, making it uncomfortable for average-sized adults. Beyond the tight back seat, the Chrysler 200 was notorious for its rough and unrefined ride quality. This was especially true when equipped with the optional 9-speed automatic transmission. The transmission was widely criticized for its jerky shifts. At number 11, we have Ford's entry into the subcompact SUV race, the EcoSport. This vehicle was actually sold in other markets for years before being brought to the United States, and honestly, it felt like it. A primary complaint is the disappointingly bumpy and unsettled ride. The short wheelbase and firm suspension tuning mean that the EcoSport tends to feel jittery over anything but the smoothest pavement. Another significant drawback is the limited and awkwardly designed cargo space. The EcoSport features a unique side-hinged rear gate instead of a traditional top-hinged liftgate. This design is incredibly impractical in tight parking spots, as you need a lot of clearance behind the vehicle to swing the door open fully. Furthermore, the overall cargo capacity is among the smallest in its class, which kind of negates one of the main reasons people buy an SUV in the first place. Breaking into our top 10 at number 10 is the Chevrolet Spark. As a microcar, it was built for cities. Small size is a genuine advantage, but that's where the advantages end for many. The biggest hurdle is its weak engine. The tiny four-cylinder gives enough power for city driving, but on the highway it feels out of its depth. Merging, passing. Maintaining speed on an incline requires flooring the accelerator, resulting in a lot of noise but not much forward momentum. This one might come as a surprise. At number 9, the Toyota Yaris. So how does a Toyota end up here? We're talking about the last generation Yaris sold in North America, which was a rebadged Mazda 2. Despite solid Mazda underpinnings, it failed to connect with buyers. One main reason, a noisy, unrefined ride. Road and engine noise were very prominent at highway speeds. That made longer trips fatiguing. Many Toyotas are safety pioneers, but this Yaris fell behind. It lacked advanced safety features, becoming industry standard. Securing the number 8 spot is another entry from Nissan, the Sentra. And much like the Versa, we're talking about the generation before the much improved model. For years, the Sentra was the embodiment of a bland, uninspired appliance car. The driving experience was defined by dull, disconnected handling. The steering felt vague and lifeless. The suspension was tuned for a soft ride instead of engagement. It simply got you from point A to point B, functional and forgettable. Compounding that was outdated technology. Competitors raced to larger touchscreens, smartphone integration like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and more sophisticated driver aids, while the Sentra lagged behind. At number 7, we have the undisputed former king of the rental lot, the Dodge Grand Caravan. For decades, this minivan was the go-to choice for families on a budget, but its time has long passed. The most significant issue is its ancient design. It rode on a platform dating back to 2008, with very few substantial updates. It felt, drove, and looked dated compared to rivals. Honda Odyssey, Toyota Sienna, Chrysler Pacifica. The interior was a sea of cheap plastics and old-school ergonomics. That ancient architecture had serious safety implications. Crash test standards evolved, the Grand Caravan couldn't keep up. It received notoriously poor DICOHS ratings, especially the small overlap front test. For a family-hauling vehicle, those scores were a massive red flag. Buyers prioritized safety and chose safer modern alternatives. Dodge's strategy was simple: be the cheapest minivan. That worked for a while, but when competitors leapt ahead in safety, technology, we have another Jeep on the list, coming in at number 6, the Renegade. This subcompact SUV boasts quirky, boxy styling that certainly helps it stand out. However, looks aren't everything, and the Renegade has been hampered by some significant issues. Chief among them are problems with reliability. Consumer Reports surveys have consistently given the Renegade low marks for dependability, with owners reporting a range of issues: transmission troubles, electrical gremlins. This reputation for being unreliable is a major deterrent for buyers looking for a worry-free ownership experience. Another common complaint is the cramped and compromised interior. While the boxy shape suggests a spacious cabin, the reality is different. Rear seat legroom is tight, the overall passenger space feels more confined than in many of its competitors. Kicking off our top 5 is the Chevrolet Trax. Similar to its corporate cousin, the Ford EcoSport, the Trax is a subcompact SUV that has consistently failed to excite buyers. A major contributing factor is its sluggish and noisy engine. The small turbocharged 4-cylinder provides acceleration that can only be described as leisurely. It feels underpowered in highway situations, and the engine groans unpleasantly when pushed hard. This lack of refinement and power makes for a driving experience that feels cheap and unsatisfying, especially when compared to the peppy and more engaging powertrains offered by competitors. The cost cutting is also immediately apparent when you step inside the cabin. The interior of the previous generation Trax is a landscape of hard, monotone plastics. At number 4, we find the Kia Rio. This is another subcompact car offering a low price and a fantastic warranty, but it has struggled to find favor with a wide audience. The primary issue for many drivers is its distinct lack of power. The Rio's small 4-cylinder engine is tuned for maximum fuel efficiency, but that tuning comes at the cost of performance. Acceleration is slow, and the car can feel strained when trying to keep up with faster-moving traffic. It's adequate for sedate city driving, but it lacks the punch for confident highway driving. The Rio, especially the base LX trim, is very light on features. Entering the top 3, we have the Nissan Frontier. For the better part of a decade, the Frontier was the truck that time forgot. Its biggest problem was its profoundly outdated design. Outdated design. The previous generation Frontier was sold up until the 2022 model year and was based on a platform that debuted in 2004. In the hyper-competitive truck market that is, honestly, an eternity. Exterior styling. Interior ergonomics, chassis technology, Toyota Tacoma, Ford, Ranger, Chevy, Colorado. It was an analog truck in a digital age. This ancient design hurt its performance and efficiency. The Frontier was known for its poor fuel economy. Its old V6 engine and 5-speed automatic transmission were simply not as efficient as modern multi-gear powertrains. This meant more frequent and more expensive trips to the gas station. The ride was also more truck-like and less comfortable. The all-new Frontier is a massive leap forward, but the old model hung around for far too long. Outdated design. Our runner-up for the car nobody wants is the Ford Fiesta. Once a popular and fun-to-drive subcompact, the Fiesta's reputation took a massive hit. The main culprit was the infamous PowerShift dual-clutch automatic transmission. This transmission was plagued with widespread, well-documented reliability issues. Shuddering hesitation, outright failure, it led to class-action lawsuits and a complete erosion of consumer trust. Even if you chose the manual to avoid the automatic, the Fiesta still had other drawbacks. The interior, especially the back seat, was extremely cramped. And here we are, at the number 1 spot. The car that, according to the data, almost nobody is buying, the Smart 4.2. The reason for its place at the top of this list is brutally simple: its extreme lack of practicality. This is a car designed with a singular purpose: to be the ultimate city car, easy to park and maneuver in the tightest of spaces. However, that singular focus comes with massive compromises. It only has 2 seats, the cargo area behind those seats is comically small, it can't carry friends, it can't carry family, it can't carry much of anything else. Beyond its tiny size, the driving experience is unique, and not in a good way. The short wheelbase makes for a choppy, bouncy ride on anything but perfect pavement. It's susceptible to crosswinds on the highway, which can be a frightening experience. So, there you have it. The 17 worst cars that no one is buying, according to the exhaustive research from Consumer Reports. From the transmission woes of the Ford Fiesta to the sheer impracticality of the Smart 4.2, each of these vehicles has a story of missed opportunities, critical flaws, or simply being out of touch with what modern buyers want. It's a tough market out there. A brand name alone isn't enough. Cars need to deliver on reliability, safety, practicality, and value to succeed. This countdown is a fascinating look into the consumer's mindset. It shows that buyers are more informed than ever and are unwilling to compromise on the fundamentals. A car can have stylish looks or a low price, but if it's unreliable, unsafe, or impractical for daily life, it's destined to be left on the lot. These 17 models serve as a cautionary tale for automakers. Listen to your customers, keep your products modern, and never ever sacrifice core quality for a quirky feature or a lower sticker price. The automotive world is constantly evolving, and the cars that succeed are the ones that evolve with it. The ones on this list, for the most part, didn't. Did your car make the list, or maybe you owned one of these and have a story to tell? Let us know in the comments down below. We're always interested to hear your real-world experiences. And if you found this countdown eye-opening, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives and lists just like this. Thanks for watching.